Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we're going to be taking a look at It's a Wonderful Kingdom. This is a Kickstarter delivery from Boîte de Jeu Games and Ori Games. I believe Lucky Duck will eventually be distributing this game, but this is the kind of just base Kickstarter pledge. It's a Wonderful Kingdom is the follow-up game to It's a Wonderful World, which was a very popular engine building game, card drafting mechanics at the beginning, very similar to Seven Wonders, and had a decent solo mode. And so I enjoyed It's a Wonderful World. It was not like a top 10 game for me or anything like that. But when this came about, I thought, okay, it was a good enough game that I'm kind of going to back this one without looking too much at it. So there's a few things I know about it, but for the most part, diving into this game is going to be a relatively new experience for me. So the one thing I do know is that it has this split and trap mechanic. At least that's what they're calling it. I've never heard of this mechanic before, but basically it's almost like the you split, I choose, or I split, you choose mechanic of some games, where you're basically like splitting cards up on one side of this board here in the center, the resource board, and you lay your cards down, and then the person next to you picks one side up. Well, then they have to lay two cards down, and you pick one up. But you can also trap cards, which means you have certain tokens that you can play cards face down and put a little trap token on it. So that may be the card you really want, or it may be a negative card. Now, this game does support solo play, so I'm very interested to see how this mechanic works in solo play. But again, these guys have trusted. You can see it's also just a 1 to 2 player game. So basically, you're just either playing head to head or you're playing solo. So let's take a look at what's inside, because this is all relatively fresh for me. So here's the rule book. Not too many pages, about 12 pages, and there's some solo scenarios on the back, which was just like It's a Wonderful World had, which was nice. It just kind of mixed things up a little bit. And then there's various modules here you can see in the book. Quest module, Advisors module, Menace module. So these are a way to change the game up. I don't know if there's then the core game. It would seem that is the case, because they are listed even after the solo mode. So really, we're talking 6 pages to figure out how to learn the game, and maybe not even that, because setup and game mode here are 1 page, 2 pages. So you're talking like 3 pages to figure out how to play the game. 4 pages, I guess. Playing the game. Let's see. The choice phase. Yeah. Player 1, distribute any 2 of your hand cards to 1 or 2 offering areas. Player 2 collects all cards from 1 offering area and place them in your selection area. Don't flip any. Player 2, distribute any 2 of your cards to 1 to 2 offering areas. Player 1, collect all cards from 1 offering area and place them in your selection area. Don't flip. Repeat until both players' hands are empty. So again, how do you choose? How does the AI choose how to play? So let's see. Choice phase. Select one of the 2 offering areas. Prepare for this phase by placing 2 cards from the development deck face up into each offering area. Select one of the 2 offering areas and add all cards. Add 1 card from the danger deck face down to the offering area you did not select. Add 2 cards from the development deck to the offering area that is empty. Do these 3 steps 4 times. The 4th time you do the first step, then move on to the planning phase. Interesting. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, there's a lot missing there with the strategy of which ones you put out. There's a whole bunch of these helmet tokens, some eyeball tokens, punchboard front, punchboard back. Not sure what those are for. And we have some player boards here. So this is the main board. That appears to just be double-sided. Maybe I'm missing something. Anyways, this is probably to hold your resources, like in It's a Wonderful World. You know, not super necessary, but adds, you know, a little bit of color to the gameplay area. Now we got some more punch tokens here. I don't know if these are the trap tokens. They're not labeled in any way, which is rather dull. Okay, then we have the Peasant Lord. I believe this is part of the solo mode. The Northern Lands. Peasant Lord 2-player, Peasant Lord 1-player, Peasant Lord 2 players. Okay. Or the Usurpers. 1-player or 2-player. And then appears to be a scoring board here. Oh, this must be where you use these tokens, I'm guessing. Now there is a deluxeified version of the game where a lot of like tokens like these are like screen printed and things like that. Oh, and I get a marker without a lid. Where's my lid? There we go. Wonder if that'll even work now. We'll see. So a dry marker, whole bunch of cards. We'll take a look at these here in a second. These resources are pretty standard here. So the various colors all in the basic cubes. So let's set those off to the side. Let's see if there's anything hidden away, tucked in here. Doesn't appear to be. Kind of hard to get out of there. All right, so let's take a look at some cards. This is the main, you know, draw of the game. Obviously, is the cards. It's essentially a card game, card drafting game, engine building game. Once you do the trick and switch, or slot and switch, or what was that mechanism called? Split and trap. It essentially works exactly like It's a Wonderful World did, where you are deciding, am I going to use this for its resource, or am I going to try and build it to get this during the end of each phase? And then there's 4 phases. So, you know, we've got barracks here. These are all the basic ones that take the basic resource to build, and then they all are going to give you various things. So standard artwork, but this is much more medieval times than It's a Wonderful World, which was much more modern. The Hamlet, the Outpost. Okay, and so these are probably military cards. Yeah, so these are, you know, basically like the industrial buildings. Now we're getting into military cards here. The Grand Army. It's interesting, scholars are military cards. Navigators, inventors. Maybe I'm using the wrong terminology here. Recruiters, Royal Court. Yeah, that's not military. Royal Cavalry. Okay, and then we have these like royalty ones. These would have been the ones that were financial in It's a Wonderful World. Usually we give you lots of end game scoring stuff. Majestic statue, that's a cool one. The Royal Dungeon, that's a heck of a dungeon. That's a cool card. So if you are not familiar with Seven Wonders and or It's a Wonderful World, they're quite nice in that they are, you know, very easy to learn. They're very quick playing games. You know, they are head-to-head games. They're not cooperative, but if you can get beyond that, you know, they're good games to have in your collection. because again, it's easy to teach someone. You can get through a game quickly, and even if you kick their butt, you're like, okay, do you understand better now what's happening? This is interesting. Is this the trap card? Is this like a destruction card? Do you have to put 2 resources on here to get rid of this? I'm guessing that's what these are, maybe? I'm not sure. Or this is the Frost Giant. Okay, so now we're getting into some interesting cards here. -5 VP takes 4 of those cavalrymen to defeat, and then I guess you get to instantly, or maybe it instantly freezes a card. Again, I apologize, I have not looked into this a lot. It just kind of appeared today, and I thought, well, sure, why not? A giant rat. Lots of giant rats. Vermin. Lots of vermin. A thief. Okay, calamity. And again, some of these are probably in the modes, because then we have these types of cards here. Pirate of the 5 Seas. Pay 4 during production, produce 4 additional. This does not count towards supremacy. Alright. Chief Mercenary. Negotiator from the Lake. These are interesting. I wonder if these are like asymmetrical player powers you can start with. Interesting. Master Cartographer. Power behind the throne. Illuminated Prophet. And Tyrannical Foreman. Pay 3. At the end of production phase, add 1 basic resource of your choice to each of your cards under construction. Wow, okay. I can see that being helpful. Okay, well that's going to do it. Not a super complicated unboxing. Again, this is just the core version of the game. This is the one that's going to be available in retail quite soon, and I believe through Lucky Duck Games, if I'm not mistaken. But let me give me some time to dig into the rule book, and then we'll be doing a how to play video coming up next. There's not much in the way of a storage solution that's needed. We'll probably find some baggies for these cards unless I have some deck boxes on hand. May or may not sleeve these. I don't like sleeving games like this that have huge stacks of cards, because the stack becomes twice as high and is more likely to get knocked over, and you're not shuffling these except for at the beginning of every new game. So we'll see. Obviously this one must probably go in at the first, at the bottom. So we'll see. If I feel like a storage solution is needed for these, I will let you guys know what I come up with. But there's not much here. So, but definitely keep your eye out for a how to play video coming up soon, just to show off the game, and we'll see how it plays solo. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.